I turned 100 last week, and for the first time in my life, I wasn't celebrating. Everyone around me was smiling, laughing, taking pictures, calling me lucky, but inside, I felt something I had never truly faced before. Regret. Not just one regret, but five. 5 things I wish I had done differently. 5 choices that followed me for a lifetime like shadows I could never escape. And today, before it's too late, I want to tell you the truth. Because maybe, just maybe, you still have time to change your story. My name is Margaret Collins, and I've lived for 100 years. But I didn't always live them the right way. I was born in 1926, in a quiet town in Vermont, where life was simple but expectations were heavy. Back then, you didn't chase dreams, you followed rules. You didn't ask what you wanted, you did what was expected. And I was the perfect example of that. A good daughter, quiet, obedient, afraid to disappoint anyone. And that was where it all began. I remember being 18 years old, standing in front of a mirror, wearing a dress my mother picked for me, preparing to meet a man she had chosen. I didn't love him, I didn't even know him, but I smiled, because saying no felt impossible. I said yes to a life that wasn't mine, just to make everyone else happy. And that decision, it changed everything. Years later, I met someone who made me question all of it. His name was Daniel. When I was with him, the world felt different, lighter, real. He saw me in a way no one ever had. For the first time, I felt like I had a choice, like I could live for myself. But I was afraid of what people would say. Afraid of breaking the rules I had followed my whole life. And so, I walked away from him. I told myself it was the right thing to do. That love wasn't enough. But the truth is, I was scared. And that fear cost me the greatest love of my life. I went back to the life that was chosen for me. I got married. I became a wife, a mother, a woman everyone respected. From the outside, everything looked perfect. But inside, there was always something missing. A quiet emptiness I couldn't explain. I filled my days with responsibilities, cooking, cleaning, raising children, taking care of everyone except myself. I was always busy, always doing something, but I rarely stopped to feel anything. I missed the little moments, the sunsets I didn't watch, the conversations I rushed, the laughter I didn't fully enjoy. I kept saying, I'll slow down later, but later never came. My children grew up before I even realized it. One day they were playing in the yard. The next day they were leaving home. I remember standing at the door, watching my son drive away, and thinking, where did the time go? I had been there, physically, but I hadn't truly been present. And that realization hit me harder than anything else. Then life started taking people away from me. Friends I grew up with, neighbors who felt like family. And then, my husband, the man I had spent decades with, gone. Just like that. I remember sitting alone in the house one night, the silence louder than anything I had ever heard, and thinking, did I tell him enough? Did he know how much he meant to me? I thought people knew how I felt. I thought there would always be more time, more chances to say I love you, but there weren't. And that's something no one prepares you for. As I grew older, I started spending more time with my memories than my present. I would sit by the window, watching the world move on, while I stayed still, thinking about everything I did, and everything I didn't do, the choices I made, and the chances I let slip away. And then one day, I realized the truth I had been avoiding my whole life. I had spent most of my years being someone else, the perfect daughter, the perfect wife, the perfect mother, but not myself. I hid my voice, my dreams, my truth. I became what others needed me to be, and forgot who I really was. And by the time I finally started asking myself what I wanted, I had already lived most of my life. Last week, on my 100th birthday, my family gathered around me. The house was full of laughter, cameras flashing, voices calling my name. "Grandma, you're amazing. 100 years. That's incredible." And I smiled, like I always do. But inside, something was different. I didn't want to pretend anymore. I didn't want to carry these regrets with me to the end. So I stood up, even though my legs were shaking, and I said something I had never said before. "I have something to tell you." The room went quiet. Everyone looked at me, expecting a sweet memory, a blessing, something light. But what I had was heavy. I've lived for 100 years, but I didn't always live the right way. And then, I told them everything. The fear that controlled me, the love I walked away from, the moments I missed, the words I never said, the life I never fully lived. I saw tears in their eyes, confusion, pain, but also understanding. And then I looked at them, really looked at them, and I said the most important thing I've ever said in my life. You still have time. Time to choose yourself. Time to be brave. Time to say what you feel. Time to love deeply. Time to live fully. Because here's the truth. Life doesn't end when you die. It ends when you stop living. I am 100 years old, and yes, I have regrets, but I don't want you to have the same ones. I don't want you to wake up one day and realize you lived your whole life for others and forgot yourself. I don't want you to let fear control your choices. I don't want you to wait until it's too late to say I love you. I don't want you to miss your life while you're busy living it, because one day, you will look back, and you will either smile or regret. And the truth is, that choice is yours, right now, in this moment. So if you're watching this, feeling stuck, feeling afraid, feeling like it's too late, listen to me. It's not. Not yet. You still have time to change your story. I wish I had learned that sooner, but maybe, my story can help you learn it now. And if my story touched your heart, if it made you feel something real, then subscribe to my channel, because I have more stories to share, and maybe, the next one will change your life.